me walking around him, he can feel it in his jawline. If something jumps in the water, or a fish or turtle swims around them out there in the lake, they can feel all that motion and vibration in that very sensitive jawline. That's how that helps them catch their food out there in the wild. If an alligator or a crocodile was completely blind, they lost both their eyes, let's just say fighting with another alligator or something, they would still be able to survive because they can feel and detect small turtles, freshwater eels, whatever food that they might need, they'll be able to locate it even if they were completely blind. And this big alligator right here, this is Einstein. I see Einstein. Come on up here, buddy. And we'll ask him to pick his head up. We'll toss that right down the hatch there. Climbing on top of him, this big guy here, this is Ducky. We know this is Ducky because he's missing his front hand. Speaking of fighting with other alligators, and he also has an extremely huge head. He has like a 3.5-foot head there. So we can't tell a lot of these guys apart. And there's little Queso jumping out for the chicken again. And you can sometimes hear those jaws, those big powerful jaws slam closed when we toss a piece of food in there. Now he's being a little eager right now, trying to climb up towards me. Let's see if he'll calm down a bit. Hold still. We'll toss that right on in there. And I know those of you guys who are up close can hear those jaws close. This alligator down here, his name is Shrek, and a good jaw pop out there on the line, even though he missed it. This is Shrek. Shrek came to us out there from the safari. And on the safari pond, he was kind of bullying the other alligators around a little bit. So we moved him out here to where they're more size appropriate. And then he's getting in just right over here. Shrek, what do you think, buddy? You want a piece of food? And he's a little shy about eating during the shows. He's more likely to work with me when there's less commotion going on out here. But just because he approached and he sat nice and still, we will toss him a piece of food there. We like to positively reinforce them as much as we can. Now, we don't do any negative reinforcement, so this stick is not for whacking alligators or anything like that. This is just simply to clear the way of the door if they decide to block me in. But yeah, we don't do any negative reinforcement. So if they decide to bite or lunge at us, we just ignore that behavior. We try to reset, and we only reward those positive things that we like to see. So some cool things about alligators and crocodiles, along their entire body, they're covered in those big bumps right there. Those are called osteoderms, and they're very obvious, especially on the alligators' backs. But each of those plates is made out of bone, and they work as armor on the alligators and crocodiles. Ooh, a great jump out there. They have such a powerful bite, and they fight each other so often. If they were not covered in these big bumps, they would be fatally killing each other every time they got into some kind of territorial dispute in the wild. Yes, we had another piece down. They would wipe their own species out by fighting with their own kind if they weren't covered in this protection here along their back. It's very important to them. It also helps soak in warmth because these guys are cold-blooded. So if it gets cold one night, the next day they're going to expose all these bumps in the sun, and they're going to soak in as much warmth as they possibly can. So that's a very important feature on the alligators. Now, I won't touch them right now, but those crowns behind Clyde's eyes right there, they stick up right behind his eyes. Those little flaps are actually his ears. They can hear everything that's going on around him. They have excellent hearing. They can even talk to each other out there in the wild. They make over 30 different vocalizations. They grunt, they bellow. See, we're not going to give them a treat for that. They hiss at each other. They talk to each other all the time. Every noise they make means something different, so they do have to have excellent hearing in order to survive with their own kind. And little Queso, she's going to get an A for effort out there today. I've seen her jump at least 20 times this evening. She is really going for that chicken. We'll see if we'll call this guy back over here, see if he's a little more comfortable now, and we get a closer look here. This mouth popping call, again, this just means that we've got some food for the alligator. It's, you know, same idea as using a clicker to train dogs. It's just a noise that they associate with food. We'll see if we'll get him to pick his head up nice and tall. We also try to work on the hold command. Hold, hold, hold. Good job, buddy. We'll give him a little scratch on the chin there. Look at those big old teeth inside his mouth there, and a great jaw pop. See, if they get a little pushy like that, we'll just block them, and we won't reward that with a piece of food until they hold still. Hold, hold. No, you know how to get a food. Hold, hold. Here. Up, up, up. Hold, hold. There we go. See, the more you work on it, the more they start to repeat the behaviors, and over time, they will learn. Now, once they get a little pushy, if you just run away from them when they start to act like that, they'll start to learn that they can pretty much just chase you out. So you always just have to be mindful of their body language and the way they're moving around, and you'll be able to